Listen to me now, because this moment is holy, and what I'm about to reveal is not just a message, it's your turning point. You think I respond to begging, but child, I respond to faith. When the darkness whispered that nothing would ever change, when your own thoughts betrayed you with fear and hopelessness, you still held on, even if it was by a thread. A thread was enough. While others gave up, cursed me, or turned away, you chose to believe in silence. You believed even when your tears hit the floor and no one saw them but me. That belief, that fragile, trembling hope you buried under all the what-ifs and why-me's, it reached my throne like thunder in the heavens. You thought I was absent, but I was watching every step, every hour you waited, every decision you made in faith, even when there was no visible reward. And now, I step in, not because you prayed the perfect words, not because you pleaded long enough, not because you proved yourself better than anyone else, but because you believed me more than you believed your fear. The enemy mocked you. Life tested you. But you still believed. And now I show you that faith moves mountains. I am not sending a whisper, I'm sending a wave. A divine interruption. An unstoppable shift. I am stepping into your situation with authority and with fullness. The problem is not bigger than me. The delay is not stronger than my will. The confusion cannot block my purpose. I am not limited by statistics, opinions, or how long you've been waiting. You didn't miss your moment, it's beginning now. My miracle is not something I'm thinking about giving, it something I already prepared before you ever cried out. So listen closely. Things will change faster than you expect. What felt like forever is about to flip in one divine move. You held on just long enough for me to step in and declare this miracle is yours. Don't be fooled by what didn't move when you last looked, because in the hours when you stopped watching, I started working. While you were resting, I was realigning. While your hands let go in surrender, my hands picked up the battle you could no longer carry. The moment you released control wasn't the end, it was the doorway I'd been waiting for. You assumed silence meant stillness, that your inaction meant failure, but that's not how I work. I often begin the most significant breakthroughs when you're not looking, not striving, not exhausting yourself trying to fix it. You need to understand this. Surrender is not weakness, it is strategy. And your surrender gave me access. You trusted me enough to rest, and while you slept, I untied the knots. I shifted things in places you didn't even know were tied up against you. I softened hearts that once turned away from you. I redirected conversations you were never in the room for. I placed your name on the hearts of people who hold the keys you need. This was not the end, it was a setup. You thought the story was closing, but I was just flipping the page. I don't require your eyes to see the miracle before I begin it. I only require your heart to yield when I say, let me handle it now. Even now. In places you cannot enter. In systems you have no influence over. In timelines that seem sealed, I am planting seeds that are already breaking through the surface. I am not waiting for your permission. I am fulfilling my promise. And soon, what was invisible to you will become undeniable to everyone watching. The change will be so rapid, so specific, so undeniable, that it will silence the lies that told you nothing was happening. The way I move is not limited to the daytime. I don't need a spotlight to perform a miracle. I operate in the midnight, in the hidden, in the unspoken. So don't be disheartened by what looks like nothing, because under that still surface, a holy movement has already begun. I waited for the moment when your heart would finally trust my process more than your plan. And now that it has, watch what happens next. I didn't just begin a miracle, I've already accelerated it. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are positioned perfectly for what I just activated in your favor. And when you wake up spiritually to what I've orchestrated, you'll realize your miracle didn't need an announcement. It only needed your surrender. You've questioned me in the stillness, wondered if my absence meant disapproval or delay, but I need you to hear this now. What felt like isolation was divine orchestration. I never walked away. I never turned my face. The quiet moments that tormented your thoughts were not signs of desertion. They were the sacred hours where I was busy shifting the weight of your future into alignment. In the silence, I wasn't watching from a distance. I was present, precise, deliberate. I was pulling down every stronghold designed to distract or destroy. You couldn't hear me because the volume of your questions drowned the stillness where my whisper lived. You couldn't feel me because your heart was scanning for motion, not presence. But I was there, rearranging people, blocking harmful opportunities, uprooting false attachments, elevating your name in unseen realms. What you perceived as divine distance was actually my nearness cloaked in strategy. If I had spoken too soon, you would have settled too low. If I had revealed the plan prematurely, you would have tried to fix what I intended to finish. That silence protected you. It slowed you down so my movement could go ahead of you. And now, because I withheld sound, I've positioned you for sudden shift. You were never abandoned, you were being aligned. Alignment often feels like emptiness when your expectations aren't met. But I was never bound by your timeline. I was not inactive, I was intentional. And now, that rearrangement is complete. The breakthrough you couldn't predict is about to confront you head-on. It will come from places you didn't prepare for. It will bypass your plans and introduce my power. Because in your waiting, you became ready. And now, your name has reached a moment in my book that can't be postponed. You're entering a divine collision where everything hidden bursts into light. What was closed is being reopened. What you thought was denied is actually about to become the clearest yes of your life. So don't curse the silence. It with never punishment, it with positioning. And what's about to happen will make every quiet season make sense. I didn't ignore you, I elevated you. I didn't delay you, I was designing a detour around danger. And now the moment is here. You're not stepping into coincidence. You're stepping into orchestration. And as it unfolds, you'll no longer question the stillness, you'll praise me for it. Stop trying to make something happen that I've already commanded into motion. What I've ordained for you doesn't need your striving, only your stepping. You've worn yourself thin knocking on places that were never meant to hold your next chapter. You've begged to be seen, pleaded to be understood, tried to prove your worth through relentless effort, but I was never asking for performance. I was inviting you to trust. You see, the access you've been praying for isn't waiting for you to break through it. I've already unlatched the barrier. The latch was broken the moment you obeyed in the small things, when you resisted shortcuts, when you walked away from what glittered but wasn't gold. What seemed like rejection was my redirection. Every time you were shut out, it wasn't because you weren't good enough, it was because I was preserving you for something that couldn't be earned by hustle. This isn't about human approval. This is about my supernatural positioning. And now, the door is not just open, it is anointed. What I've placed behind it is not just an opportunity. It is divine territory prepared specifically for you. You will need to manipulate, impress, or elbow your way in. The way will welcome you. It will recognize the oil I've placed on your life. You'll walk into spaces you never trained for and find that you're already equipped. You'll stand before people who once ignored you and see their hearts soften before you even speak. That's what my favor does, it prepares the atmosphere before your arrival. So let go of the idea that you must do more to earn what I've freely given. Your next move isn't about proving anything, it's about walking confidently into what I've already provided. I don't need you to pry, push, or panic. I need you to follow. I've gone before you. I've whispered your name in meetings you weren't invited to. I've stirred minds and opened hearts without your knowledge. I've released what was withheld. And now, all that's required is your alignment. Don't return to locked gates when I've placed an open one right in front of you. Don't waste strength pounding on barriers when I've called you to walk into favor. This is a moment you must shift from forcing to flowing. And when you do, you'll see that the door didn't open because of your effort, it opened because of my word. It responded to the authority I carry, not the weight you bore. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are exactly where I needed you to be to cross this threshold. So take the step. Walk forward with no apology. A miracle isn't in your momentum, it's in my mercy. and it has already begun. What you mourned in secret is not lost forever. What broke your heart is now being rebuilt by my hands, piece by piece, but with glory you never imagined possible. I saw the nights you whispered into your pillow, hoping no one would hear your sobs. I witnessed the moments when your eyes were dry from exhaustion, but your soul was soaked in sorrow. You didn't cry in vain. Not a single tear fell without my notice. I stored them, not in forgetfulness, but as a promise, because I intend to restore not just what you lost, but all that loss was meant to teach, birth, and multiply in you. I am not sending back the old. I am not returning the familiar. I am resurrecting something far better, something that carries joy untouched by past wounds, peace uninterrupted by old memories, and blessings untouched by the hands that once hurt you. You thought restoration would mean a repeat of the past, but I am not recycling pain, I am redeeming your timeline. The very areas where you once begged for comfort, I am now flooding with divine increase. Relationships that crush you will be replaced with ones that heal you. Opportunities that vanished will be eclipsed by doors that swing wide without resistance. The identity that was stolen from you through betrayal, shame, or failure I am restoring with clarity, confidence, and unshakable purpose. And when it arrives, it will not be subtle. It will carry my fingerprints so clearly that even those who doubted you will have no words. This is not a partial repair. It is complete renewal. You're not going back to what was, you're being elevated into what was always meant to be. I saw your innocence shatter. I saw your dreams delay. But I never let go of the final chapter. I wrote something beautiful beyond your comprehension, and now you are about to walk straight into it. But understand this: my restoration does not operate according to human rules. I don't give back what was taken in the same form. I transform it, I sanctify it, and I deliver it with double honor. Where shame once lived, favor will rise. Where rejection once stood, celebration will erupt. What once crushed your spirit will now become your testimony. So prepare yourself. Make room in your heart. Treasure your expectations. Because what's on its way will not just answer your prayer, it will exceed the depth of every pain you thought had no purpose. You wept in the night, but joy, my joy, is arriving with the morning, and it won't be temporary. This is the restoration you never saw coming. And when it lands, all you'll be able to do is drop to your knees, not from sorrow, but in awe. I do not restore halfway. I do it completely. And what I'm about to place into your hands will leave even your deepest wounds without memory. You won't just feel better, you will be whole. Because this miracle, child, this one carries my signature. You thought your weakness disqualified you, but it was your fragile, shaking yes that stirred heaven into motion. I never asked for perfection. I never demanded you to always stand strong without shaking. It was never your flawless words that caught my attention, it was the way you whispered truth through trembling lips. It was how you chose me through the fog of fear, how you clung to hope when the ground beneath you threatened to fall apart. That fragile faith, the kind you thought wasn't enough, was more powerful than you realize. It pressed through the noise of doubt, pierced the darkness of despair, and reached me with clarity. You assumed I only move when prayers are loud, confident, or eloquent. But I respond to heartbeats more than voices. And your heartbeat, your choice to still believe when belief felt impossible, was louder in my courts than any shouted praise. You don't understand the weight your small acts of trust carry. When you refused to curse the season, when you held on to me while your emotions screamed otherwise, when you worshipped me even with tears running down your face, that's when the miracle began to form. Not when you felt bold, not when you spoke with certainty, but when your heart whispered, I still choose you, even while breaking. That kind of faith makes the earth shift. It makes demons tremble. It unlocks doors that were sealed for generations. You didn't need to be lied, you needed to be honest. And you were. You came to me in your quietest hour and laid it all bare. That surrender, that authenticity, that raw belief, it moved me. And now, the result of that quiet battle is about to become a public testimony. I'm about to reward the faith that didn't always feel strong but always chose me anyway. That invisible war you fought inside yourself. The one no one applauded or acknowledged, I saw it every moment. And now, I'm sending a response not based on your strength but on your surrender. This is what pleases me, not the outward image of power but the inward choice to trust when everything tells you not to. You thought you were too broken to be blessed. But I say this, it's the cracks that let my light shine through. It's the vulnerability that makes you ready for my fullness. And I'm not filling you halfway. I'm pouring until you overflow. So let go of the guilt. Stop disqualifying yourself because of the way your faith looked. It may have trembled, but it never stopped. And because of that, you're about to see me do what no perfect prayer could have ever earned. The miracle is already in motion, not because of how strongly you stood, but because of how deeply you trusted when you could have walked away. That is the kind of faith I honor. That is what opened the heavens over you. And now, the impossible will bow before the one who saw you kneel in weakness and still call it worship. I know you've questioned the waiting. I've seen you wrestle with timelines that felt too stretched, promises that seemed too far, and moments where you nearly convinced yourself it wasn't meant to be. But hear me clearly now. The delay wasn't punishment. It was precision. You were never overlooked. You were being refined. There are some blessings that can't arrive early, not because I don't want to give them, but because the weight of them could collapse a foundation not yet matured. What I'm sending into your life isn't something fragile, it's heavy with glory, soaked in destiny, and destined to shift the course of others through your obedience. That kind of miracle doesn't land in unsteady hands. And that's why I let the weight deepen you. I wasn't ignoring your cries, I was strengthening your character. You thought I was being silent, but I was being thorough. I was building capacity. I was expanding the frame of your spirit to hold what I've destined you to carry. It's not that you weren't ready for anything, it's that you weren't ready for this. And rather than let you walk into something prematurely and watch it unravel, I protected you with what looked like a pause. But now, the construction is complete. What used to feel too heavy will now feel like an assignment. What once intimidated you will now fit your grip. The doors that once seemed locked will now respond to your steps, not because they've changed, but because you have. I let the delay form spiritual muscle. I allowed the stretching to carve out patience, discernment, and deeper intimacy with me. And now, you no longer need to chase what's next, you are ready to host it. You've moved from bleeding to preparing. That's what I was waiting for. Not for the world to align, but for your soul to stand. And now it does. You are no longer who you were at the start of this process. You carry wisdom forged in the fire, resilience formed in the shadows, and authority anchored in surrender. And because of that, the release can no longer be postponed. I'm not holding back, I'm opening wide. The delay didn't steal anything from you. It added layers of strength that will keep the blessing from breaking you. You're not stepping into something random, you're stepping into the very thing I promised, but with tools you didn't have before. So don't resent the time it took. Rejoice in what it produced. Because now your miracle is not just near, it's ready. And so are you. You've been watching the clock, wondering if the moment passed you by, if you missed the signal, if your chance dissolved while you hesitated, but let me reveal the truth behind the timing. I did not let it slip away. I slowed it down so you could walk into it without trembling. The opportunity hasn't expired. The calling hasn't shifted. The promise hasn't moved out of reach. I just needed you to grow into the boldness that matches the magnitude of what I'm handing you. I saw how fear whispered that you were too late. I watched as doubt tangled your steps and told you that others moved faster, that you had fallen behind, that you would never catch up. But I don't measure readiness by speed. I measure it by surrender. And in the delay, I wasn't punishing you, I was pacing the moment to meet your progress. Because this moment, this miracle I've set apart for you is not a prize for the fastest. It's a portion for the faithful. You see, the world glorifies the rush, but I anoint those who rest in me. I wanted you to walk into this without looking over your shoulder, without second-guessing, without carrying the anxiety of comparison. I wanted your posture to be confident, not cautious. I didn't want you stepping into this blessing wondering if you were worthy. I waited until you could step in knowing you were chosen. You didn't miss the door. I simply delayed its full swing until your feet stopped trembling and your eyes started locking with mine. You now see me more clearly. You hear me more quickly. You trust me more deeply. That's why this is the right moment. I'm not giving you something that will overwhelm you. I'm releasing something you can walk in with authority. No more tiptoeing around your calling. And no more shrieking when people question what I've placed in you. No more apologizing for where I'm taking you. This is not a maybe season, it's a now season. And you are no longer the person who doubts her own readiness. You are becoming the person I knew you'd be, the one who says yes, not with fear, but with fire. So, don't look back. Don't measure what's next by what you think you lost. Nothing slipped through your fingers. Nothing passed you by. I held it still. I paused the moment. I froze the timing. Because I love you too much to hand you something sacred when your confidence was still being formed. But now the refining has produced boldness. And this next step will not be shaky, it will be steady. Not frantic, but fully focused. The miracle hasn't gone anywhere, child. It has waited for you. And now it rises to meet your stride, not your worry. So step forward. I'm not just beside you, I'm ahead of you, making sure the ground won't break under your feet. What you thought was lost is now your welcome. What you thought past you is now opening for you. And what you're about to walk into will silence every lie that told you it was too late. Pay close attention now, because what I'm about to do will not need your intervention to prove it's me. It will speak loudly for itself. You've been watching for signs, searching the skies of your situation for clarity, aching for something that would tell you you're still on the right path. And I tell you this, the signals are already in motion. The people, the timing, the open doors, the sudden conversations, they are not coincidences. They are fingerprints. Mine. And I'm placing them all over your life in patterns so precise that even the most skeptical part of you will have to admit it. This could only be God. I've seen how you've struggled with doubt, not because you lack faith, but because you've been surrounded by inconsistency for too long. You've heard voices that pulled you in every direction. You face obstacles that seemed to mock every step of obedience you took. And yet, you kept walking, even when it felt like walking in circles. But now, that path you thought was going nowhere is beginning to light up, one step at a time. Not because you're forcing it, but because I'm orchestrating it. You don't have to chase signs, I'm sending them directly into your atmosphere. The opportunities that come won't be subtle. The shifts that occur will come with undeniable clarity. I am weaving together the threads of timing, location, and divine favor in ways that even your past confusion can't blur. You'll see people come forward with answers you didn't request. You'll hear confirmations in unexpected places from a stranger's words, a passing phrase, a message you weren't even looking for, and yet they will echo what your spirit has been quietly carrying. This is how I move when it's time to accelerate. I eliminate the need for striving. You won't have to fight your way in. I'm laying the path down before you. You won't have to analyze every detail, I'm the one connecting them. And when it happens, you'll feel peace, not panic. You'll feel release, not pressure. Because my confirmations don't bring confusion, they bring alignment. Stop wondering if you've missed a step. Stop replaying the past, thinking that one wrong decision could have canceled everything. You're still aligned with my purpose. And because of that, I'm making sure everything that needs to meet you will. Without delay. Without detour. Without chaos. You don't need to keep asking for proof. I am the proof. My spirit within you is guiding this. And the more you trust me, the more clearly you'll see how everything is beginning to unfold precisely, beautifully, unshakably. Not by your effort, but by my hand. The puzzle pieces you thought would never connect are locking together with ease. The gaps that once felt too wide are being filled with my timing. And what once felt random will soon reveal its perfect pattern. So stay still. Stay attentive. I'm sending confirmation after confirmation, not because you're unsure, but because I want your heart at rest as you receive what I've prepared. It's happening now. Just watch and you will see that every move, every turn, every delay, and every whisper have brought you to this divine moment where everything aligns. You've been mourning some of the departures as if they were detours, but I tell you now they were divine exits to clear the space for what I am bringing. I know it hurt when they walked away. I know their absence left more than just silence. It left questions, memories, and what felt like emotional debris scattered across your soul. You wondered what went wrong, what you could have said differently, how you could have held things together just a little longer. But child, not every presence is meant to stay, and not every relationship was meant to carry the weight of your destiny. Some were only assigned to a chapter, not your entire story. And in my wisdom, I began separating what was seasonal from what is eternal, not to punish but to protect. You see, there are things I'm about to place in your life that can only survive in purity. There are gifts coming that demand a new level of discernment, peace, and spiritual atmosphere that cannot be polluted by confusion, manipulation, or inconsistency. I allowed certain connections to fall away, not because you were unlovable, but because I was pruning your circle to match your calling. You kept trying to revive what I had already released. You kept returning to voices that no longer echoed my truth. But I needed to make space. Not just physically but spiritually, mentally, emotionally. The rooms of your life had become crowded with noise, with expectations, with people who admired your light but couldn't handle its responsibility. So I removed them. Gently, silently, but decisively. And though your heart cracked, your spirit is now breathing again. Because what's coming needs your full attention. You are stepping into a season where influence, clarity, and purpose will rise. And with it comes the need for people who don't just tolerate your calling, but honor it. People who don't drain your energy, but fuel your faith. People who recognize what I'm doing in you, even when you're still learning how to carry it. The ones I'm sending next will speak life when you're weary, and truth when you're tempted to settle. They won't compete with your growth, they'll celebrate it. And their presence will not feel heavy, it will feel holy. This is why the old had to be released. Not because it lacked value, but because it lacked alignment. Some walked away because they couldn't go where I'm taking you. Others were removed because their presence would have cost you too much later. And now, instead of grieving the past, I'm asking you to open your arms to what I've prepared next. What's about to walk into your life carries confirmation, not confusion. Peace, not pretense. Growth, not guilt. And you won't have to chase it, it will arrive naturally, effortlessly, as a result of your surrender. This is what I meant when I said I'm doing a new thing. It includes your connections. It includes your environment. And it absolutely includes the healing that comes with knowing you didn't lose anything that was meant to stay. You are not alone, I've just made room. So lift your eyes. Something holy is approaching, and it's coming into a space I've cleared just for it. Let the old go without resentment. Let the new come without resistance. This atmosphere, this quiet, refined, expectant place is the soil where miracles grow. And now, with the clutter removed, your miracle is no longer delayed. It's about to enter. Get ready for a moment that needs no introduction, no defense, no explanation, because what I'm about to do in your life will speak louder than any words you could offer. For too long, you felt the pressure to validate your journey, to justify why you kept waiting, to explain why you didn't give up, and to make others see what you've always known in your spirit, that I've been working on something deep within you. You've endured eyes that misunderstood you, voices that questioned your choices, and whispers that doubted your calling. And yet you kept your head low, your heart open, and your faith alive. You stayed planted even when nothing seemed to bloom. But now, I am sending a manifestation so undeniable that it will silence every lingering doubt, not just from others, but from your own weary soul. What's about to unfold will carry a clarity that no one can challenge. I'm not just answering your prayers, I'm putting my glory on display through your life. The doors I open, the favor I pour, The healing I release and the positioning I orchestrate will be too precise to be mistaken for luck, too rich to be explained by coincidence, too divine to be credited to anyone else but me. You won't need to pose a statement. You won't need to explain how it happened. The results will speak louder than 1,000 testimonies, and the very ones who questioned your journey will be the first to witness the fruit of your endurance. Not because you need their approval, but because I'm using your story as evidence of what I do with surrendered hearts. This blessing is not a quiet one, it's a marker. It's the kind of miracle that shifts atmospheres when you walk into a room. It's the type of breakthrough that leaves even your enemies in awe. I'm preparing a table for you, not in hiding, but in plain sight. And I'm not doing it so you can boast, I'm doing it so my faithfulness can be seen and my name can be lifted. I don't need your circumstances to look favorable before I pour out favor. I don't require everything to make sense before I make it supernatural. You've been refined in the unseen, and now it's time for the unveiling. And when it happens, it will carry my signature so clearly that no one will question its origin. You won't need to defend what I've given. You won't need to minimize the miracle to make others comfortable. You will walk confidently in what I release, knowing it was birthed in obedience, carried through fire, and crowned by my own hand. So stop worrying about how it will be received. This is not about proving anything to the world. This is about me revealing what has always been growing in the shadows of your faith. The fruit is ripe. The season has arrived. And the blessing that's coming will speak for itself. It will declare my presence. It will shout my goodness. It will magnify my timing. And all you will need to do is lift your hands, not your voice, because the evidence will do the talking. This is the reward of walking with me when no one else understood why you did. Get ready. The blessing is on its way, and when it lands, every eye will see and every heart will know. I did this. Amen.